Hello there and welcome everyone. Welcome, happy Sunday. I figure, my camera's off center. I'm gonna mess it up. I figure it is too hot to be outside. So today we're gonna do some crafting and I'm so glad you're all here. And I have a very special guest today. Hello there. Sorry. Simon Hurley I've known Simon since he was a young thing, and now he's the age of he's younger than our second oldest. Oy vey. Anyway, I'm glad Simon's here because he has so much to share today. Mike, can you bring Simon in? Let's see if we can do this. There we are.
Hey, Jennifer. I'm super
Hi,
excited to be
Simon.
here.
Yes, I'm glad you're here. This will be fun.
Yeah, this is going to be a blast. I'm so excited to talk all about the pastes with you and kind of share all the different techniques. It's going to be a blast.
Good. So what we're doing today is we are winging it. Well, ish, kind of, right? Simon has prepared a bunch of things because I talked to him about, some of the things that people may, be curious about he has different types of paste, the differences and all that. He has a new type of paste that just came out. So he's prepared some things, but really today we're gonna play. We're playing with different techniques. We'll create a bunch of backgrounds and then I'll probably go off screen after the live and turn some of the things that I make into cards. But Simon has a lot of examples and he knows this product so well, it's gonna be really fun to learn all the things he has to share.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. This is like a Jennifer McGuire exclusive because I've never sat down for a long time and really compared all of the different pastes and sat through it and shared every technique there is. So this is going to be a blast.
Yay! So Simon and I talked and we may get carried away and have a longer live, but what the heck? Why not, right? I think
fun, right?
There's a lot to share and I don't want to go outside. It's too hot here. Is it hot there?
It's pretty hot. I've been sitting by the pool every day this week, so it's pretty good.
You have a pool?
My friend has a pool at their condo, so we've been sitting there. I get some work done, some video editing done while we're outside. It's great.
I need a friend with a pool. I don't have a friend with a pool here. The only pool that I can go to is the neighborhood or the community one, and there's a lot of people. So it's a no-go for me, not my jam. Okay, so Simon has different types of paste, and I don't know if you caught it. I know a lot of you probably did, because I saw a lot of people have watched already. Simon came out with Astro paste this week, and he did a really complete video on it. I watched it. It's fantastic. So he's going to go over some of that again, but do know that in the description below, I have a link to his YouTube channel where you can learn so much more on all of these products. Also, the kind folks over at Ranger Ink, and they're here in the chat. Patty from Ranger's here. Patty, thank you for being here. They are giving an exclusive 15% off over at Ranger for everybody who's watching today. So if you could go ahead, I think the easiest thing to do is to go ahead and right at the top of the description for this video, it says for visual supply list go to, and it's this link that has the word live in it. We'll put it in the chat too. If you click that and open it up in a new window, you'll see the information on how to get that 15% off. And there'll be images of all the different supplies Simon will be using and I'll be using today. So you can easily find things if you're looking for them. So if something comes up, Mike will add some links to that too. If other products come up. I just want to make sure that's in there. Yeah, good. Okay, so the information for the discount code, it's also in the description below, but if you go to that other link, everything's there. It just makes it really easy. Okay, so Simon, do you want to go ahead and get started?
Sure, let's jump right into it. I'm going to turn that
All right.
and go into swatches first. So I find swatches to be really helpful when talking about different pastes, just because there's a lot of them, so it's kind of hard to share. I thought, let's actually first start off with the glitter pastes. These are new. These are the Astro pastes. I'm super excited. There's 9 different colors of these, and they sparkle so great in the light. And the awesome part about these is they're clear with colored glitter, and then Frostbite has a clear glitter to it, which is a great basic to have. It's hard to see on there, but you can see it more on the black. But these are just gorgeous because you see like each individual speck of glitter. And my favorite part is none of it comes off on your hand once it's dry. Because I hate glitter, like if it's not contained. So I
I
absolutely
get
love
it.
the sparkle and shine of these.
Wonderful. So those are the new ones you just came out with this week.
Yep, these are the Astro pastes. We started off with 9 colors for these, and hopefully, if everyone's loving them, we can kind of expand that color collection too. These
Awesome.
are some of my favorites right now, especially for the holidays coming up. Like Christmas in July has been awesome, so I've been loving creating with these for holiday cards too.
And we'll probably start with using that because it looks very different in the jar, so it'll be good to show everybody that. But go ahead and show your other pastes too.
Yeah, so let's talk about the other paste too. So this one is called Lunar Paste. This is what kind of started the whole collection. And right now we have 28 colors of the Lunar Paste out. But what's
Wow.
really awesome about these is each one has a different color mica like shimmer into it. So each one has a mica powder that is this exact color. They match with my line of ink pads. But I really love these because you can kind of swipe them onto your surface. You can use them through stencils, with a sponge. There's so many different ways you can apply it. And it really gives just a great color and shine to your projects, which I love.
Yes.
And then most recently in the Lunar Paste line, we've also included a couple different neon colors as well. So there's 7 different neons. And I love these because they're really bright. But even if you're like a little bit scared of neons, they mix in really well with the rest of the Lunar Paste. So I like to use like a couple bright colors with a couple of the regular ones to sort of like dull them down if you're a little bit nervous with the really bright ones. But I tend to use a lot of bright colors, so I really like these neons as well.
Wonderful.
And then we'll also jump a little bit into solar paste today. So solar paste is a little bit of a weird one. It's kind of an anomaly. People were a little bit confused when it came out because it looks like a colored paste on black cardstock, right? You can kind of see a little bit of that color. The camera doesn't really do it justice because you can see the color a little bit more
Yeah.
in real life. And then when it's on white cardstock, it sort of just blends in right now until you like tilt it in the light, and it's going to get blown out by the camera here today. But
Yeah,
you
it's
get a
hard.
little bit of that color shifting on the white cardstock too. But what I love about these is it's more of a technique paste, so you can mix things into it. You can also use it just straight onto the white like this because I sort of like the subtleness, and then you can have a really great like standout focal point that's nice in color. So these are more of kind of an effect paste sort of techniques, which I think is really fun too.
Great, great. Awesome. So where are we going to start?
All right, let's start off with the Astro paste like you were talking about, and then
Okay.
we'll sort of mix in the other pastes with it as we go because there's some techniques you can sort of use with them together.
Okay.
So there's 9 of these colors. Let me get my jars out here too. They look a lot different in the jar than my swatches look. The reason is let's talk about this for just a second. So I know that some glitter pastes on the market, you can really sort of see the actual color it's going to be right away. With these, I didn't want that because that requires a completely different consistency of paste. And I went to the chemist and I said, I want these to be exactly pretty much the same base formula as what a lunar and solar paste is because I love the consistency, like the buttery kind of creaminess of those. So
Yep.
it sort of looks a little bit more opaque, but then once it dries, you actually get to see all of that glitter. So with these, especially, I recommend having swatches on hand just so you know what the color is going to look like
Yeah.
once your project dries. But they look a lot different than what they do in the jar.
Nice. And I think you can die after you put this on cardstock and let it dry, you can die cut it. So you could die cut like a little circle to put on top, which I haven't done yet, but I definitely plan to do because it does look different than in the jar.
Yeah, so if you do go in and die cut it, which I'll talk about in just a little bit, you'll want to use like a bigger shape. It's not going to do well with super intricate things.
Yeah.
If it's really intricate, I would apply the paste after the die cut, which I'll show you in a second too. So I like it because it's super smooth and creamy, but it still like can hold that texture if you give it some texture to it, which I think is awesome.
Oh,
But then
nice.
also, I've been known to like to apply the paste with my finger. And so in the past, and we'll talk about this again more in detail in a second, but in the past with lunar and solar paste, you've wanted to like take, very little paste and then swipe it on. Whereas with these, you want to apply a little bit more paste and not use as much pressure because if you apply too much pressure, you're kind of moving that glitter around and not getting much on the surface. But if you apply just a little bit of pressure, like barely touching the surface, kind of gliding over top of it, you get a nice coverage of glitter still. And once that dries, it'll kind of give you that nice sparse glitter on there, but it won't come off on your hand, which is awesome.
Gotcha.
All right.
I
So-
do like how smooth it is. It's just really smooth. It's
Yeah,
not
super smooth, kind of creamy.
not as thick as other glitter paste, so it just applies very easily.
Mm-hmm.
If you can see it yet.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, and then like I said, that'll dry down and you'll really be able to see all of the glitter in both of these too. But I just love the consistency of it because it's very similar. So if you like Lunar and Solar Paste, it's a similar consistency. It's just a little bit grittier than those pastes would be.
So it's like a creamy looking base, but it dries like the, what do you call it? Like it's creamy with the glitter in it, but it dries clear with the glitter in it, right?
Yep, it's completely
Okay.
clear. So if you apply just a thin amount like this, you'll still be able to see through underneath the image. The glitter in it is opaque, so you'll want to just apply like a little bit if you're trying to still see through it.
Real quick. Garrett asked a question. I just want him to know that we're going to come back to it. Can you mix different colors of paste together, or will they get muddy? Can you add re-anchor to that? We are going to talk about that later. So stick with us.
Yep, stick with us. We'll do so many different techniques, so I'm sure many
Yes.
questions will be answered. The thing I do want to talk about with these is you can use a heat tool to heat set them. I know that's a big thing for a lot of people, especially for me
Yes.
because I'm super impatient. I like this Ranger one mainly because the heat is just less focused. You can still use like a regular heat embossing gun too, but just know that if you
Okay.
use this, you'll want to move it around quick because this sort of like tends to bubble or boil it a little bit more, whereas this tends to just kind of heat it. You still want to keep the heat tool moving either way, and it should take like 1 to 2 minutes to dry a layer that's super thick like this with the heat tool.
So if I were to set this aside, I mean, I did a pretty thin layer, as thin as I could probably do with it being solid. How long do you think it would take to dry on its own? I know it depends on where your climate and all that, but what's your guess? Like around
Yeah.
what?
It all depends on climate, but I'm in Wisconsin, and I tell people like about 30 to 40 minutes for me,
Okay.
with a layer that looks sort of like this, where it's kind of not super thick. We applied it with our palette knives. I would say 30 to 40 minutes. If you're in a place where things dry a lot quicker, it'll probably go a lot faster too.
Okay, and I just thought I'd show. This right here, I pounced it like with my finger, a thin layer, and you can see how it's dry, because it's so thin, it's dried already. You can see it dries clear with just that glitter, and this doesn't rub off. So you can do even like just a thin amount of glitter onto something and it will dry clear. And this, once it dries, it won't have that creamy look to it. It'll be that glitter, but it won't rub off.
Yeah, so
So
that
there,
one
yeah,
is
those are
gonna look
dry.
like this, and then this pink right here that I just applied is gonna look like this one. So completely
Gotcha.
different than what it looks like once it's wet still.
Wonderful.
All right. And then let's talk a little bit about drying, because I know that some people are going to ask about the pastes drying out. Now, we've tested
Okay.
these and put them through lots of testing, and they should kind of stay, have a shelf life as long as Lunar and Solar Paste would. And I know those are known for kind of staying pretty great for a long period of time. Now, do note that like every paste is going to have a shelf life. You'll want to use it no matter what. I do recommend if you're in a drier climate where things dry out a little bit faster to open up your jar. And especially like this one's been used a little bit more. I grab a little piece of press and seal, just like this one, and you can take the piece of press and seal, put it into your jar, and then like push it down so that you're getting all of that air out until it's like
Ah,
pretty much touching that paste. That's
okay.
going to get rid of any of the air that's in there, because any air that's trapped in there is what's going to kind of make these dry out a little bit more. And then go in with your lid and sort of turn your lid on and close it really nice and tight, and that will sort of help to keep it last a little bit longer if you don't use your pastes as much. For me in Wisconsin, I haven't had really any problems with these drying out, so I don't tend to use the press and seal trick. But if you're in a drier climate where that might happen, I would highly recommend doing that.
Yeah, I've heard, like Marcia said, shelf life can be frustrating, and I have heard that the press and seal trick works with other pastes that I know dry out pretty quickly. But I will say I've had the I guess it would be the Lunar paste since they came out, and they aren't dry. So that's, that it lasts at least 3 years in most cases is my guess, because isn't that how long it's been out?
Yep, it's been out for about 3 years, and like the
Okay.
prototypes that I've had for like 4 years have just started to dry out. So like
Okay.
I would say the shelf life is right in between 3 and 4 years. But like I said, if you're in a drier climate, definitely press and seal it. But these have been put through vigorous testing in the labs. Like they put them through the worst conditions to kind of
Yeah.
see how they dry out, and they fared pretty well. So it should last for quite a long time.
Yeah, as Kathy says, you mean we're supposed to use our supplies?
Right? No, they're just for looking at on your shelves, right?
And Vicky asked, which side of the press and seal goes down? The sticky side?
I did the sticky side,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I think you could do either, but I'd probably recommend the sticky side facing down.
Okay, great.
All
Wonderful.
right. So let's just go right in and do the first technique, just right through a stencil. I love
Okay.
these pastes just like blended through a stencil like this. I think that the glitter mixes together like really well in between the layers, and you get this
Okay.
sort of like multicolored look. I used all of the rainbow colors together, and it just looks beautiful on white and black. And that's the other thing too. These are completely opaque, so you can use them on both colors of cardstock, which is awesome, and they're going to look the same no matter what. So I'm gonna go in with this Deco Diamond stencil, and Jennifer, you have a different stencil there, which is awesome.
Yeah. I've got that one, but I thought I'd play with something
Oh yeah, let's
a
do
little bit
different ones so
different.
they can see like different
Yeah.
effects.
This
All
one
right.
is the In Bloom. Mike, can you
Oh, I
add that
love
to
that
us?
one.
In Bloom late. So there's 3 stencils. I'm just going to use one of them because I love flowers. I think I'm going to do the bigger, and maybe later, once it's dry, I can go put another layer in a different color on top, and then another layer in a different color on top of that.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And you know what? I have a little sneak peek too. I
Oh
did
dear.
the Astro paste first, and then I did like a layering stencil with a little bit of Lunar paste in that slippery when wet color later, and it layers beautifully on top. So if you do that, it looks really great in the end.
Okay, so you did, the leaves are done in
The leaves are just
Lunar?
done in green ink, and I just blended those
Oh,
in
green
with
ink.
one of my inks. And then
Okay.
this is Bee Sting, Prom Queen, Roar, and Slippery and Wet Astro paste.
Astro
And
paste.
then for the third layer, I just did one layer of the Slippery and Wet Lunar paste. And this stencil is called, let's see, I think it's called Pretty Petals. It has 3 different
Yep.
layers, and it makes these really pretty flowers. I love it.
Yep, I got that one here. Maybe I'll do that. No, I'm going to do this. Since you did that, I'm going to do this. Okay. All right. Should I do black or white cardstock? Should I do black since you're doing white? What do you think?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, do black, and then we'll
Actually-
sort of show what it looks like on both.
I'll use the same stencil then. That way we're doing the same thing. Same stencil. I'll do black, you do white.
Nice. And then they won't necessarily be able to see exactly what it looks like, but we do have those dry samples on the side so you know what it looks like. And then we'll probably post
Right.
these later on Instagram so you guys can see fully what they look like dry.
Yeah, that's the bad part about live with paste is you got the drying factor.
Yeah, I was like doing my video the other day and I was just sitting here with my heat tool going because I am so impatient. I can't wait for them to dry. So
I get that. I get that. So you're using, tell me the tape you're using.
So this is mint tape. It's from scrapwood.com, and I just like it because it doesn't rip my cardstock at all. But I know there's a lot of different kind of masking tapes you could use. I like to mask all the way around the stencil just because it holds it down nicely, but also that way the glitter doesn't go like underneath your card at all. So I just like to kind of mask everything off around the edges.
So somebody, let's see, Lane, hi Lane, she asked, how does it look on colored cardstock? With these, they end up opaque colored glitter, so you can do on any color of cardstock, right?
Yep, you can do it on any color cardstock, and it should look pretty much the same no matter what.
Awesome. Okay.
Also, can we turn my brightness on my camera down a little bit on the overhead? Because I think it's kind of blowing out like the white cardstock a little bit.
There we go. Yeah, that looks much better.
Awesome, that looks great. Thanks, Mike. Okay, so I'm gonna go in. Let's see, what colors should I mix together? Should we do different blends so that they can see? I'll do Bee Sting, Roar, and Slippery and Wet. So I'll do like the warm tones here, and maybe I'll even
I'll do the
put
cool.
a pink in too.
Okay,
I'll do
I
these
got some
four.
cool ones here. I have Later Gator. I love the names.
Okay.
Tropical Tango, Clear Skies, and Crown Me. I'm not sure
Alright.
which I'll end up using, but those are the ones I got here.
That's gonna be a great mix. All right, so then I just like to take like a sort of a glob of the paste and I just put it right at the top like this. This is sort of how I create my blends, and then if I have any excess paste at the end, I usually just swipe it off onto another piece of cardstock, which you can use for die cutting.
Okay.
And then I just wipe off in between and keep applying the colors.
I always make more of a mess when people are watching. Does that happen to you? Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Right.
definitely.
Yes, I like that. Jenny said, Jennifer's lives are long, which I love, but maybe this Astro paste will dry before the end of the live. It absolutely will. It
Definitely will.
It just won't be right away. It just
Right.
won't be
You'll
right
see
away.
all of our projects at the end.
So which colors do you have there? Again, tell me again, I'm
using-
sorry.
I did a little bit of Prom Queen, and then I'm doing Bee Sting, which is the red, and then I'm going into Roar, which is the orange, and then a little bit of Slippery and Wet, which is the yellow. That color always is such a tongue twister for me.
I like it though. So this is, just so you can see the consistency, I don't know, is this like, it feels like the consistency of like mayonnaise with glitter in it, but it doesn't feel crunchy. Because it's
Right.
such fine glitter, is that right?
Yeah, and it almost feels like a whipped cream, almost like
Yeah.
I don't even know. It's kind of like light and buttery to apply. It's really weird.
Yeah, like a very light icing for a cake. Not thick, but light.
Yeah, very much so. And it's very like airy when you apply it.
I like it. Do you have to mix it in the jar?
Oh no, you don't have to. I do a lot
Okay.
on Instagram just because I like the sound of how it sounds mixed.
Yes.
but you don't need to mix
and
it at
that
all.
sound stuff.
Yeah.
Because I forgot you're young. I'm old. I don't do that sound stuff. I have children in the background. That's the way it goes. Okay.
So we were using the paste tool set, which has this palette knife in it, but I love it because it has this scraper along with. And the scraper is really great for like swiping these backgrounds, blending them together, and then getting like such a smooth look on the background, which I love. So we'll just go.
Simon,
in with the scraper.
I don't like these.
See, I got a bunch open on the side too. I got like a million packs of these.
I use this so much. I even like if I have glue on my glass work surface, I spray it and then scrape it off. I use these so much. There's 5. That's sad. I should
I
have
open
shown
a
that.
lot of
Okay.
packs of these because I go through
Oh,
them
look
so
and see. Okay.
It's like my favorite
There'll be
tool. What can I
issues.
say?
Okay.
Okay, so I like to scrape it down. Now, there is a tip when using this scraper tool. So sometimes people will scrape that first layer and then not make it all the way across, but still have all of this, and then they'll be like swiping and not being able to get it down. So I recommend that when you have the excess paste like this, just take it on your cardstock and put it at more of a downward angle with this, and that disperses the paste, so you'll get a lot more paste down. And then when you want to smooth it out, use it at more of an upright angle, and that scrapes it off. So it's just all about the angles when using this tool to get like the best result.
So cool. This makes it so easy.
Right? It's so smooth then, right when you're done. So lots of paste left over. We'll use this on another background in just a second.
Okay. It doesn't dry too fast, huh?
No, not too fast. It won't dry on us that quick. So I'll peel this
I'm
right off.
using a different tape than you. Oh, see, mine has more stick to it. I'm using Altenew Satin tape.
Oh,
It's
nice.
just what I have.
Yeah, and I
what
love
have.
taping off the edges because then you don't have to deal with all of that glitter that's around the edge. You just get rid of that tape and it's all gone.
Look at that.
That looks amazing.
Oh.
I love the blend between those colors too. Wow. On black, it's so stunning.
Look at that. Okay, now you know how it's got that. If somebody popped in, it's got kind of a creamy look to it that kind of hides the glitter. That will dry down and it'll become like just solid opaque glitter. Marcia, we won't let that paste go to waste. We're gonna come back to it.
So this is what
So
it looks
there's
like once
one,
it's
yeah.
dry, for anyone who's just
Okay,
joining.
I gotta
in.
show that here. Look, can you show that one again, the rainbow?
Oh, yeah. Yep. So it'll look kind of milky, and then once it's completely dry, it'll look
Look at
something like that.
Look at that
It's
rainbow.
so
That looks like
stunning.
something out of like Wizard of Oz. I don't know.
Right. All
So
this
what do we
sparkle
do
on that
with
is
our
amazing.
stencil? What do we do to clean
Oh,
it?
So with our stencil, you'll want to clean it right away. I almost just ruined that background. Oh my gosh, I gotta set it somewhere where it's not gonna get ruined. One
I
second.
almost put my finger in mine too.
All right, so to clean it off, you'll want to just use a little bit of water. When the paste is so wet, it breaks down quite easily with water.
Okay.
Something about the formula just really cleans off nicely, but once it's dry, it's a lot more permanent. You can still like
Okay.
scrape it off once it's dry, but I just recommend for anyone to just go in and wipe that off before it dries on your stencil.
So with the trick of having, I'm sorry, I should be on here. The trick of having a bowl of water, like when you're creating to throw it in, would that work? You know, so it
Yes,
doesn't dry on there?
So I watched our friend Ricky from Bromero
Yeah.
Card. And
Yes.
he said that he had a bowl of water and he set the stencils in after he did the Astro paste. And he said the
Yeah.
next day when he came in, all the glitter was lifted off the stencil and it was like they were super clean. So definitely a
Oh,
bowl of
perfect.
water
Okay.
and sticking these stencils in would be perfect.
Hold on real quick. Cindy, you said it reminds me of Jeff Ruby's steakhouse. Colin is going there tonight with my parents. That's kind of funny that you said that. Anyway, local friend. Sorry. That cleaned off very easily.
Yes.
That cleaned off
Super
very
nice and
easily.
clean. And then you can take this and do another stencil background. So like if we wanted to do another background, you totally could with that stencil, but you could take this excess paste and I like to just take it because you've already got that like perfect blend here. So I'm just gonna take mine and smooth it across the background like this. And this will give me like a colored cardstock, but like a glitter colored cardstock. And what's so cool about a glittered cardstock rather than buying your own glitter paper is that, let me show you this once it's like dry, it'll look something like this. And what's awesome about that is the glitter is like blended in between. So when you die cut out of this, you actually get like the blend in between each color, which is
Look at
so
that.
cool. So like I said, if you die cut out of it, like really big shapes like this works. This is my Brilliant Butterflies die set with Spellbinders. And then you have the inside pieces too, which you could like cut and put on top like this.
Look at that.
That like super glittery butterfly, but all those details too, which is amazing.
So you basically can create your own glitter paper.
Yep, and it's cool because it's those blends then. So it's not just like a solid glitter. You got like the different colors going on, which is so cool. I love it, and that's good when it's dry too. Super fun.
I'm usually not one who wants to clean. I usually run out, like with something like this, I have a sink out right outside my craft room, and that's where I would run to clean it. I'm not used to cleaning at my desk. I don't wanna clean. Yes, I agree, Sika. Those color blends are pretty. So I took some of my excess and I put it on here, on this guy.
I love that.
And then I still have a little bit, so I'm just going to take that and just spread that onto here. Just a little bit. There's not much left, but just...
Oh, nice. That could even be like a strip, like for a border on a card. That would be really cool.
That could be a strip or like a shadow for word die cut, like your everyday sentiments word dies, which I use a lot. You could do the shadow die from that. So this will dry very sparkly. There, you got some.
Yeah. So that would work perfectly for that. Yeah, just a little area that you can die cut really easily out of, which is awesome.
So one thing I recommend, if you're doing a bunch of backgrounds like this, have a place where you can put them while they dry so you don't mess them up like I'm about to.
Yeah, same.
Lay them off to the side here. But you can already see it, the sparkle starting to come through. I saw someone, hi Sika, hi Brian, hi Diana. I saw someone mention, like, how do you prevent warping when you put a lot of it down?
There's no way to really prevent the warping when it's wet. I would use maybe like a thick cardstock, but some cardstocks just have the tendency to warp no matter how thick they are. So I just set it off to the side, and usually once it's done drying, it's pretty much flattened out again. It's just the liquid that's in the cardstock while it's still wet.
Right. One thing that the black, are you using Tim Holtz black?
Yep. This is the
like,
Ranger Tim Holtz super dark black cardstock, which is awesome.
Okay, if you all don't have this, put this on your wish list. The Tim Holtz black heavy stock. It's also the same it's the same as the alcohol matte cardstock. It is dark black, like the darkest black you can get. It's heavyweight, so it's good for things like this. And it die cuts nicely, and it has this like almost velvety feel to it. Every time somebody gets it, they email me and say, I didn't know it was so soft. There's something, it's something special about it. So that's the black that we're using today. And you can see how good it looks there on that with the glitter paste on it.
Yeah, you get like a super
or the Astro
dark
paste
in between because that black is so rich and crisp and vibrant.
Yeah. What white cardstock are you using?
I'm using my Simon Hurley Stark White cardstock. It comes in 8.5 by 11, and I just cut it down. But I like it because it works really well with inks, and it takes the paste well too. So I really like it because it's good with like all different types of media, but it's really nice and bright white then too.
What weight? How is it? Heavyweight?
Yep, it's 110 pound, so it's pretty nice and thick too. And it doesn't warp a
never
ton
tried
when
it.
you put the paste on, which is really nice.
Yeah, I think one of the things with paste that sometimes people get discouraged by is it could be solved, at least from my experience, could be solved by using a higher weight cardstock.
Totally.
You don't want to use like any kind of index cardstock. You want to use a good heavyweight cardstock. So if you don't want to use that for everyday crafting, save it for things like this. So Mike will add your cardstock.
What is it called?
What's your cardstock called again? I need to try it. What's it called?
It's called Stark White cardstock.
Stark white. Okay. He'll add that. I also have linked below, this is Nina Classic Crest Solar White that I'm using, and then the Tim Holtz Heavy Stock in Black. Jessica asked, does cutting paper with the Astro paste ruin your metal dies? Does it feel like sandpaper?
You know what? I would have to talk to my team at Spellbinders. They're very knowledgeable. I feel like Denzel would know that question a little bit better than me. I did die cut with it with this butterfly, and it seems to not affect it too much, but if you apply the paste thick, it's definitely not going to cut through. I can tell you that. But there are other examples, which I'll show later today, where I die cut and applied the paste afterwards.
Oh.
So if you are worried about something ruining your metal dies too, you can always apply that glitter after, and I'll show this in just a little bit too with the die cuts.
So the engineer in me says these dies will be fine with glitter.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I'm
Trust
thinking
me.
too.
Yeah. That you know, I don't have much use in my engineering anymore, but I do know that the material these dies are made out of, I wouldn't worry about it. I really wouldn't. But you know what? We'll ask Spellbinders, and I'll come back, and we'll ask Stencil. You know what?
And
I can text Stencil.
It's probably like almost identical to cutting the like glitter cardstock because it feels like that too. So I would say, yeah, no problem for sure.
Awesome. All right, you show, and I'm going to text Stencil so we can ask.
Perfect. So I'm going to go in with the flip-flop chevron stencil. And I just wanted to show what you can do if you don't want to go like full glitter, right? Full glitter background. Something you can do is apply a little bit of ink. And I always say like the neons, you can apply the ink to make it a little bit less scary. Same thing with this glitter. If you want just a pop of glitter on your colored background, but you want like not to be so in your face, a good way to do that is applying like another layer through a layering stencil of ink. So we're gonna start off, and this stencil is super cool, so I wanted to show the versatility of it too.
Yes.
So,
okay, and should I do black?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
As long as, actually, can the ink go on the black? Can you see the ink on the black?
Oh, no, I'll do, you know what? I'll do a colored piece of cardstock. How's that?
Yeah,
A
that
light
would be
color.
cool.
Hang on. I'm gonna get my favorite color, cardstock, which is Concord at Ninth Aqua Sky.
Oh, nice. I think that might be what I used here last night too.
Ah, that is. Yep, I know it a mile away.
I was thinking of you. I was like, that looks like Jennifer McGuire. I'll use it as this
Yeah.
background.
Yeah. All right. Any questions, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rosie. I think steel dye versus like plastic glitter, definitely the dye will be okay. But I did text Denzel. Hopefully he'll respond. Can you use paste on a gel plate?
Oh, I would probably, so with lunar paste, yes. Solar paste, yes. When it comes to the glitter, I would probably keep that away from your gel press. Same thing with these mats. I know these have been really popular lately, and I love mine inside the stamp wheel. The photopolymer mats, you can use the glitter on them. Like I've used the glitter, but it might just grab onto it in some places, and you might not be able to clean it off. So I would warn you that like these are going to hold on to that glitter a little bit more. But if you have one maybe just meant for glitter, it still works really well for stenciling along with your paste. So it just, I don't know, just weigh the odds about you getting glitter everywhere if you're going to be mad about that or not.
So Simon, when I was your age, I never broke rules. So I break rules now. I'm going to try it.
Oh, perfect. Hey, that's
I'm
good.
going to try it. You said, Catherine asked, can you think of it out? Can you thin it out? Can you use a brush with these?
Can you, so yes, you can. I'll show in a little bit using a brush with the paste.
Perfect.
So you can definitely thin it out. And if you check out my video too, you'll be able to see, like I did it on a lot of the little images, just using a brush and sort of pouncing on a little bit of the paste. And it works really well.
So I'm going to use it on here. But I don't know why I did. Because using it to hold the stencil straight as I put the tape on. But I'm going to put enough tape around it that I won't get any of it on my mat. Yeah, so doing it on the glass would have made more sense, you know.
Yeah, glass is definitely easier to clean. I still do it on that mat though because I just like the ease of the stencil being able to stick down into it.
Yes.
It's really nice. All right, and I'm
Yes,
gonna go
I could have done oxide ink. Somebody mentioned that. Yeah, I could have done that.
Oh yeah,
Black.
yeah, that would have worked.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go on with just a little bit of dye ink. This is the Shooting Star color from my line, and just an Altenew blending brush, and just gonna blend through this first layer really easily.
All right. So which color is that?
This one's called Shooting Star. And I also should mention that all of like the Lunar and the Astro pastes have coordinating ink colors to go along with it. So if you are really into like matchy and like having your projects completely match each other, they do have coordinating ink colors. But we just got back from a Concord and Ninth event too, and they do match a lot of other lines too. Like you can find very similar color matches, which is awesome. So like Concord and Ninth, there's some great matches that they found that work really well with their inks too.
So are you doing the whole thing yellow?
Yep, I'm going to do the whole thing yellow. You can always blend on other colors too if you want to, but I'm going to do a second layer with a different color, so I'm just keeping it simple.
I'm not good at simple, you know that. So I have your tropical teal and clear sky. Oh, that color.
Ooh, that
Holy
great.
moly. These blend well.
They blend
Whoa.
super well. That's one of my favorite parts of all my inks.
Holy moly.
Is that the blending between them is like amazing.
I didn't realize that. Wow.
And you know what? I'm going to be just like you.
Oh.
I'm going to blend on another color. I'm going to use Guppy, and I'm going to use one of these little blending tools and then go like in between down the chevron lines.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Look at this. These do blend. Do they have some pigment property or something to it to make it blend? They blend. You don't need to tell me your trade secret. Man,
No, it's weird. I don't think that they have any pigment. It's completely a dye ink, but I like went back and forth with the chemist when we first made them, and I was like, these need to blend better. They need to blend better, and they blend right away too. There's no like smoothing going on. It just seamlessly blends like right away with them, which is awesome.
Jill just said she loves Simon. She's been watching you since you were a tadpole. I have to tease Simon because he's so young in comparison to me. And it's said with great love because when I was his age, I did not have my act together. So I was a very lost soul. So I'm impressed that he's found what he's good at such a young age. I think that's a gift. Not many people get that.
Thank you. That means a lot.
All right.
She didn't want to text me early this morning though because she didn't want to wake me up because we're on some different sleep schedules.
He texted me last night after I was asleep, and then I didn't want to text him this morning because I knew he was probably asleep.
All right. So we'll lift this off.
Oh, look at that. Oh, awesome. That looks dimensional.
Yeah, super fun, right? You get like that sort of like 3D look from it then. I can't wait. I love that blend of the teal with the blue together too.
Oh, yours looks good because of that. The way you applied it with the smaller blending brush. Mm-hmm. It looks dimensional. This is just a mix of the two colors, just randomly.
Oh, that's beautiful though. I love that mix.
All right.
So the cool part about the stencil is we'll wipe it off, and what I love so much about this is it was designed to flip. So part of the chevron is missing. Now there's a couple things you could do with it. You could flip the stencil. I like to just flip it over, and then it lines up perfectly in between those chevrons, which is great to complete the chevron design. But you can also go in and shift it so that it makes this kind of like X or like almost like woven stripe looking design too.
It looks like a helix, like a...
Yeah, so to do that, how did I do it? Let's see. Okay, so to do this one, you just move the stencil over like one line, and it should line up like an X or like a woven design kind of across from each other then.
Oh, I get it. I got it. Okay. Oh, that's cool. I think I need to do that too, because that's neat. Oh, cool. All right. So a lot of times, we did a class on stencils over at Online Card Classes, and one of the best ways to get more out of your stencils is shifting or rotating, flipping. You could probably even get something cool like doing this. Like there's just a lot you can do.
Oh yeah, sideways. Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
See, like, and I think that a lot of people don't think to do that with their stencils, but a lot of the stencils like weren't designed to necessarily do different. Like, I didn't design it to do the X sort of pattern, but like you kind of come up with it afterwards. And if you're
Yeah.
creative with the way that you shift your stencils, you can really get so much use out of them, and it
So
looks
much
completely
more.
different. So I'm gonna do the chevrons if you're doing the X pattern, so that we can get two different looks.
Okay. Sorry, I had to jump on your idea. I liked it so much.
No,
That's
you're
cool.
good. I think it'll look great.
Yeah, it does look like a DNA double helix. That's cool.
All right. Oh, I love
Yes.
that. That is gonna look so good.
Oh, fun. Yeah, this is a great stencil. This is the Flip Flop Chevron. And remember, if you are shopping at Ranger, there's a 15% off discount code in the description below. Heidi asked, are the stencils numbered so you know what order to use them? This is one stencil. We just flipped it. So it's just
Yep,
one
so this
stencil.
one is one, and then if there are like if there are several stencils in my line, like this one's that pretty Petals one, I'll just show you
Yeah.
quick. There's an etched name and number on most of the corners so that you know which way you're placing it, and also like what stencil you're using. For the most part, you'll kind of like, you can go out of order, which is why it doesn't really matter, but it matters just so that you can read them so you know the orientation is correct.
Gotcha. So what are you going to do over your stencil? I might do something a little different just to,
Let's see. I think I might do, what should I do? I'll do like pink maybe.
Okay. I'm wondering. I might do, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've got, since I use Tropical Tango and Clear Skies, I have those in the Astro paste. But I might come in with a little Clear Skies Lunar paste too.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Is that dangerous?
No, that would be awesome.
All right. Because we're just playing here, so. And what I'll end up doing is coming back later and turning these into cards off screen, and then we'll be able to, really it'll probably be mostly just keeping the card simple because the background will be beautiful and just putting a simple sentiment in the center.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know what I'm going to do here. This is the Clear Skies Astro Paste. I think I'm going to do it in like areas.
Oh yeah, you could like put the different areas like you did with the inks too.
Yeah, I should have made them match up, but I didn't think of that, so.
That looks great. And I'm just gonna do that same
Hopefully
thing where you can like scrape and then pull. Now, when I do have to say, when you're scraping,
Yeah.
I've seen some people, which is, it's good to see classes because you can kind of see
Yeah.
what people are doing live so that you know what to tell people. And I kind of see that the paste won't go underneath the stencil unless if you're really pressing it, right? So I've seen
Okay.
people like really fighting with their stencil here and giving tons of pressure. That's gonna kind of push it underneath, but just go nice and gentle and just
Okay.
kind of keep scraping until it's completely covered. And that way your paste isn't going underneath because you applied too much pressure.
All right. My color combo is Tropical Teal and Clear Skies. So this
nice.
is the inks, and then somebody asked, and that's what I'm using in the Astro Paste. So I put a little bit of those two colors. I'm just doing it random. And then I'm going to do the Clear Skies in the Lunar Paste too, just because I can. But this I don't want, now this I've had since the beginning, and you can see it's still very, very smooth. So I don't want to get any of the Astro Paste into this, so I put a glob over here on the side so I can pick up more if I need to. This I'm just going to kind of put over. I have no idea if this is going to work.
Cool, I think. Mixing them is kind of fun. I didn't even think to mix them until like recently, and it's been really cool. Look, I've already used so much of this in just like 2 days.
Well, you've been doing a lot. It's your job though. So you use a lot of it.
Yeah,
I do
I'll
find
be
that they
on my
last.
next jars by next week.
Yeah. Well, I do find these last quite nicely. Now I don't want this to go to waste, so I'm just gonna spread it out here so later I can go back and die cut that.
Oh, nice.
Somebody asked, will the Astro Paste stick to, what'd you say, acetate?
So it will, but if you scratch it, it probably won't. So like it
Okay.
will stay onto like it'll stay on your stencil after it's dry, but like I said, enough scratching and it'll come off. So you can always
Okay.
try it, but I've always said like it mainly sticks to things that are porous. So like
Okay.
cardstock or wood or something that has that texture to it. If it's like a laminate surface or something that isn't porous, it'll kind of wipe off with enough rubbing.
Gotcha. All right. So I did this on my Altenew sticky mat here. But I was careful to not, at least try, not get the glitter paste on it. But I did get a little glitter paste of the Astro paste on it over here. And while it was still wet, I was able to wipe it off. So that's good. But the nice thing about doing this tape on the grip mat is now I don't have, like when I was pulling the tape off, I didn't have to worry about it shifting. Because I
Yeah.
mess up like that a lot. Oh, that's going to be fun.
Oh, I love that.
Look at that.
That is going to be so cool. Wow.
Okay.
And I love like the blending mix with the paste. It just like it's not super in your face like just an all paste background would be, and it just adds more dimension too.
So I got some areas where it's tropical teal Astro paste, so that'll be glittery. Some areas where it's clear sky Astro paste, some where it's clear sky lunar paste, so that'll be pearly, and then somewhere it kind of mixed. And so this will really come alive when it's dry.
Yes, yeah, totally. And you can't really see the shine of lunar paste as much too when it's wet, but once that dries too, you'll see more shine in there.
Okay, let me clean up before I have an issue here. Simon, I haven't done this much cleaning in a long time.
I know, right? You go through a lot of paper towel and cloths. I'm like, I have these
I,
microfiber cloths too, and I have one dedicated to like the sparkles now because it's super glittery.
ah, well, I've got just I have just all the things to try to clean up because I'm notorious. If I don't clean up things, I'm sure to have a mess ruin something, you know. But
Yes, I'll like stick my hand in a project too.
yeah,
I'm setting them on my back counter so I don't touch them.
yeah, I've got them over on a cart. That cleans up very easily. You can see this one. This is the one we just did.
Ooh,
It's still
wow.
wet, but you can see the glitter starting to dry, and that like creamy, cloudy look is starting to go away. So
That's
that color
gorgeous.
right there is drying to that. So you can see the glitter coming out. Gosh, that's
That's
pretty.
really beautiful. Mine is still pretty wet, but yeah, there's a little bit of glitter coming through, but
Yeah.
your glitter's coming through more, I think, on that black right away.
It turns like it's like magic. It's one of those that I always say, like in crafting, a lot of times things look like a hot mess. That doesn't look like a hot mess, but you know, it once you give it time, it'll look amazing. You just
Yeah,
need to have
the worse
the
things look at
patience.
first, the better they might look in the
Yes.
end.
Yes, totally. Totally.
I love
That's
that. Wow.
beautiful. Awesome. Okay, well we'll keep letting these dry.
All right. So now let's talk a little bit about, let's do the frostbite astropaste because it's completely
Okay.
different than the rest of the astropaste. And I think it's good to kind of go in depth about like a color that's different so that they know what to expect. So frostbite astropaste, first off, is different because there's a different type of glitter inside of it. It's a mix of the same fine glitter that's inside of these. So there's one of the same size that's inside of these, but then there's also this like chunkier glitter in here, so it almost looks like icicles or like little crystals of snow. It's a really cool look. But because there's those bigger chunks in there, you actually get more like sparkle and shine when you tilt it in the light. So that's why we added different sizes on the
Okay.
clear because you get a completely different look from it. So with this, the frostbite is not opaque like the other colors, so it's going to be used more as like a topper or a special effects paste. It's going to be especially cool for snow or things like that. But you can also do it over top of backgrounds, layer it over top of images. There's a lot of really cool things that can come out of the frostbite paste. So
Okay.
let's talk a little bit about what you can do. I'm going to create an inked background like this. And then we'll put the frostbite over top and you can sort of see like what it looks like in the end. It's really cool.
Okay. Nice. So I'm just I got impatient. I wanted to do a little comparison on some color cardstock. This is your
Oh yeah.
slippery one wet. And I'm going to show that this one, the frostbite, is different. It'll dry clear.
Yes.
So it's
yeah,
the only
that's a
one
good.
that dries clear.
And it looks white in the jar, so it's really deceiving. It's really quite deceiving. But like I was looking at the pictures online, and I was like, that is not what this looks like, because it dries really nice and clear. But hopefully, I think there's some like swatches on most sites where you're shopping, so you know that
Yeah.
it's gonna turn clear once it dries.
So this one will turn solid, like gold looking glitter. This one will turn clear glitter. It's the only one that goes clear. So I just wanted to show that on a blue cardstock. This will be opaque. You won't be able to see through it. Okay.
And
So what
I
you
did
got?
this one last night, and this is on just I think that Concord 9th blue color.
Yep.
So
Aqua
this
sky.
is that frostbite dried on there. You can't necessarily see it on camera. It's a little bit more difficult, but in real life you can see that sparkle. But the difference between this and this background is this one was fully inked. So the frostbite actually reacts with the ink if it's a water-based dye ink, and it'll lift some of that color up too. So you kind of get some of that color to like come through in the paste too, and you see it a little bit more on inks backgrounds that you do.
Okay. So if you put frostbite on an inked background with a dye ink like yours or distress ink, it will pick up some of that color.
Yep, as it's drying, it'll
Okay.
sort of like morph into that color a little bit. It doesn't pick it up super intense, like opaque,
Okay.
but it'll kind of tint it that color a little bit more. So it
Awesome.
creates this really cool kind of look to it.
That'd be cool because then you could do resist of another color on top, couldn't you?
Yep, yeah, you can ink on top. Now the only thing is with these, I do have to say, your sponge tools might shred just a little bit. So
Right.
like you'll want to use one, or like you might have to replace these after a little while because that glitter is going to be a little bit rougher than anything else on it. But if
Okay.
you have like a blending brush,
Yeah.
that might be a great option for this.
Okay. And Kimmer asked, can you add re-inker to frostbite?
Yes, you can add reinker to frostbite. Now, when you do add the reinker to frostbite, you won't be able to see it on black cardstock. You'll only be able to see it on the white cardstock, and the color shine won't be like these because it's just that clear. You'll get this sort of crystallized look with a color to it.
So like a not as va-va-voom glitter.
Yep, totally.
That'd be pretty. That'll be
It
good to
almost
try
looks,
too.
like if I could compare it to something, it almost looks like salt. Like
Ah,
on top
okay.
of that,
Yeah.
it's got a little bit more shine to it, but
Sugar?
it almost has like that texture of like salt inside of your paste.
Yeah, Stephanie said Jennifer's brain is reeling. Cool resist layering. Yeah, I have children to feed, Simon. Come on.
All right, so I'm gonna go in with this overzealous color to start out with, which is my latest green color. And
Okay.
to start off, I'm just gonna ink blend this background. Now, when I do this, it's really simple. Like you said, the inks blend really easily, so you don't have to put much effort into it. You just wanna lay a lot of color down. So
Okay.
I'll start off with the overzealous and just get a lot of that green right in the center.
Oh, this is like super like juicy. Oh, I like it. That's probably part of it too.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of
Part
ink in
of
there too.
white
And
was.
sometimes people get a little bit scared to get ink out of their pads. You don't want to just lightly tap it. You
No.
want to like kind of rub into that
Yeah.
pad and you'll get more ink from it.
And that's how I noticed. I was like really pressing, and I could see the ink around. That's probably why it blends so well. It's a good juicy ink pad, and the juicier the ink pad, usually the better you can do blending.
Yep.
I did on my last one. Somebody asked what colors I did. It was clear skies and tropical teal. This is clear skies. It's
Oh,
perfect.
nice. I love that color. It's gorgeous.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go in with Later Gator next, which is just a step darker.
Okay.
And then I'll go in and just kind of follow it up around the edges, kind of leaving a little bit of that center, that lighter color, but you'll want to add more dimension around the edges.
Okay. The two colors I'm using are, one's not lighter or darker, but it's what I had out, so that's what I'm
Yeah.
using. This is the tropical tango.
I love that color too. One of my favorites in the line,
Look at
honestly.
that. Look at that. Gosh, that's pretty.
And you'll just want to kind of blend lots of that color onto the surface. The more color you have, the more it's going to react. But I'm just really coloring it just so that it kind of gives that nice depth and dimension around the edges.
Okay. If you watch as you blend with this, one of the things I'm noticing that these blend well is, like if I come to my paper with a big blob of it, I can smooth it out. And
Yes, yeah. That's one of my favorite parts is if there even is like a harsh mark in it, it'll kind of disappear as you keep working the ink into the cardstock.
No, I got carried away with my Tropical Tango because it was so pretty, so I'm just putting a little more blue skies in the middle. Ah, that's beautiful. And this will kind of smooth out because it's a dye ink. It'll kind of smooth out a little bit as it dries.
Yep, yeah, we'll smooth just a little bit. And then the fake plant I'm going to go in with next just for a little bit of darker color. You don't have to do this, but it just adds even more depth to the edges.
All right.
And really starts drawing your eye in.
What's the name of that color?
This one's called Fake Plant.
Okay, Kristen asked, Simon, how do you come up with the names?
So it's really funny. Me and my mom sit down and we just kind of sit there and throw out random ideas, and whatever sticks happens to be the color name in the end. We have a ton of fun though. Like it's the best part of the whole product design aspect. You're like done with everything and you finally get to like sit back and come up with the name that should represent it. You know, I did come up with some when I was 16 and I'm like, that one's a little like slippery when wet. I can barely say. So I'm like, I regret that one a little bit, but
no, it's a good one.
I love them. They're so funny.
Your mother is lovely.
Yeah, she's so sweet.
I met her back Gina's. We were at Gina's. It was before you were old enough to. I don't think you were old enough to drive. Were you old enough to drive yet?
I think I was. It might, but she came along with it, and it was so much fun.
Yes. And we enjoyed a beer together after the class.
Oh yeah.
She's very sweet. All right.
So this is what that looks like at the end there,
That's
and
pretty.
we'll do that with just a little bit more. But yeah, it gives tons of dimension in that cardstock there. And then let's go in and apply the ink or apply the paste down. So I'll just wipe up my ink. And then I like to put down a little bit of tape underneath my paper just to hold it down in place.
Okay. I'm lazy. I'm doing my script.
Oh yeah,
mat.
the sticky
sticky
mat is
mat
so
here.
helpful. I love that.
Yeah.
It was like the best invention of last year for me.
Laura asked, how does this compare to the sparkle glitter paste that Tim has? Ranger said there's a different glitter. This is different glitter than that. This one is, I don't know. How do you compare? Do you know?
I've never used the sparkle glitter paste, so I don't know. But
it's a little bit different.
I do know that it is a different glitter. I was talking to the chemist about it, of like what kind of glitters we wanted in it. So I think it's just like different. Oh, I don't know. You'll have to watch Tim's video and see what he says about the paste if you guys go back and look. But he probably asked for something a little bit different for the needs that he wanted. So I'm not exactly sure.
Hey, I'm all for more options. Teresa says yours looks like a yummy avocado.
That's good. Yeah, the little pit in the center. All right, and this is the Grand Greenery stencil.
I like this one. This one would be neat to do like lunar paste over it, let it dry, and then like shift it, rotate it, and do more greenery on top with the Astro paste.
Totally. It's a great shifting stencil to like fill in the background more if you want to, for sure.
In fact, I'm going to do that real quick. Because I can. I don't know. I don't know that you'll see it. Because I use such dark ink color, but what the heck.
Oh, nice. Oh, I like that.
So
you're adding ink down, it'll make it a little more 3D, and then the paste over top.
I need to grab a darker color, but I didn't grab any. I'm just going to go with this. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Oh, this would be beautiful for a Christmas card.
Yeah,
Put
like
some
even
red
like I like
berries on
this
there.
background because it looks like a wreath, and then you can put like ornaments in front or something.
Yeah, but then you could also put flower die cuts on it and make it something for spring.
Yeah.
So
versatile.
I love it. Okay, so I'm gonna take this and I'm just gonna flip it, rotate it, and put it back down.
Oh, nice.
Easy enough.
Genius. That looks great.
I've got. Go ahead. I'm just gonna tape.
Okay. So then I'll go with Frostbite. Now this one is my most used paste so far. This one is really down to the barrel there. So I'll go in with the Frostbite paste, and again, just apply quite a bit up at the top here. All right. And then we'll go in with our scraper tool, and I'm going to scrape it down on the card there. Now, with this thicker one, it does have that chunky glitter in it. So again, just less pressure when you're applying it down, because sometimes it wants to like pull that chunky glitter with it. So just less pressure and smooth that out, and you'll get a really great look.
Ooh.
It's not too much than spreading the other ones though, so if you're already used to spreading the other Astro pastes, you should be good on that.
Yeah. It's a great consistency.
Right? I just love how smooth it is. It like fills in the stencil really easily. Now, there is a little slight bit of green inside of this now, so I'm not going to put the excess back into the jar. You can if you want, but it might tint it a little bit. So I'm just going to take any extra that I have and just put it onto a piece of cardstock off to the side. And I don't think that the green is enough to really notice. So you could always die cut like another sentiment out of this and kind of like have a nice white, shiny look to it.
And if you wanted like a little silver glitter on this, while this is wet, I bet you could sprinkle some on and it would dry in there.
Oh yeah, you can use like a glitter spritzer or sprinkle some with your hand.
Yeah.
And it would dry really cool, yeah. I like that idea.
I don't think I have a glitter spritzer. I need a glitter spritzer. All right. You're making me learn all the things I don't have. I don't have your cardstock. I don't have a glitter spritzer. All right, let's see this.
I'm adding
now this
to your
will
shopping
look,
list.
yeah, this will look white. Yeah, see how white it looks now, but it'll dry. Oh, this
Yeah,
is
it looks a lot different. Oh my gosh, I love that. Wow. I love the layering underneath too. I didn't even think about that, but that's so cool.
That's fun.
Beautiful.
Okay, now.
And yeah, it looks like this once it's wet, but then this is how it's gonna look once it's dry. So completely clear, and it really starts to take on the colors of the ink then too, which is awesome.
Nice. Okay. Put it aside so you don't mess it up, Jennifer. Awesome. Are any of your other things drying?
Let's see. This one's drying a little bit more now. It's starting to look a little bit better.
Here, let me
Oh,
see.
hell must be hot though, because yours is drying quick.
Yeah, it is
Mine's
very
still really
hot. I think it's like 97,
Oh,
which
wow.
I
Yeah,
know.
it's not that hot here.
I know there's hotter other places. People always, whenever I say it's hot, people are like, it's 180 here. I know, but listen, I am an old menopausal woman who needs cold. Simon's like, I'm out. I'm out.
Too much information.
Poor Simon had to deal with all of us old folks at the Concord and Ninth event, and I think we played music and from like old classic songs to see if Simon knew them, and JC too, because he's younger, and I think it was probably he was mortified, but you know
I knew maybe two of them, but it was so much fun. That was a blast.
Then we asked him to play a song from his childhood, and it was like a Katy Perry song, and we're like, no, because those are from my older daughter's child. Like, oh my gosh.
Oh, that one is already dried so beautifully. Wow.
Isn't that
The
gorgeous?
sparkle is insane on that.
So if you remember earlier, this was creamy looking, and now see how it dries such a opaque glitter, whatever.
I love that. Yeah. Like once
There,
it
oh,
dries,
look at
you
that.
really see every sparkle of glitter in there.
So similar, would you say these would be the same colors on those two? Yours is white and mine is
Oh yeah.
Is black.
Yeah, it's very similar. Yep.
That's pretty.
Love
And
that.
then I used my extra leftover from that to do this one. And that's drying. And then this, it's not completely dry. You can see it still looks a little creamy, but then I can die cut or make a little
So
border
pretty.
out of it.
I love it.
Ah.
Wow.
Oh,
Those are
and
amazing.
we need to talk about, let's see if I can see it. Hang on, let me switch to me real quick. Woo, okay. Can you tell on this purple one, what's that called?
Oh, it's
Purple?
called Crown Me.
Okay, so I don't think you can see it, but it has fine purple and fine blue glitters together, which creates that kind of periwinkle tone. It looks so cool in real life. I wish you could see it.
Yeah,
That
a
one's
huge
really
shout out to
special.
our chemist at Ranger. His name's Brian, and
Oh, there
he
we
does
go.
such an amazing job. But when we were working on this color, he was like, "That's a really tough one because a lot of these are solid glitters. But as we expand the line, there's probably going to be more mixes like this. But I love it
Okay.
because it's almost like a blue holographic with like a purple and then like a midnight blue mixed in, and it creates like the perfect look for that Crown Me color. This one has been like a fan favorite for the past couple of days. Everyone's been loving that purple. I forgot to talk about it, but it is like kind of that mix between different tones, you know?
Gotcha. So just to do a comparison, remember when you first, helps if I show. Here, I'll go to my overhead, sorry. So you can see how it looks like a creamy glitter there, because that's just, this one's still wet, very wet. But then this becomes not creamy, very solid, opaque glitter. Oh, good. Karen said you could see it. Yeah,
Oh,
these
perfect.
are, I'm telling you, one of the hardest parts about doing videos is a lot of the magic things that look magical in real life, we just can't capture in photos in a
Yeah.
video.
They
And it
look
is really
horrible on camera.
frustrating. A lot of times I'll be like, I'll put it up to the camera when I'm filming and I'm like, oh, look at the beautiful shimmer. It's amazing. And then I'm watching it back. I'm like going, you can't see it one bit. People think I'm nuts, but that's the way it goes. All right. So what's next?
So, talking on the same lines with frostbite paste, I want to show this too because this has been such a fun technique and I love the look of it. So,
Okay.
the other day when these pastes released, we also released a couple different stamp sets. There's sketched snowmen, sketched Santas, and sketched Christmas. I was very creative with the naming of all of them, as you can tell.
Hey, hey.
But
You saved all your creative names for your inks, your
exactly, right?
colors.
So with all these, they're just these adorable little images that are kind of like great for Christmas cards and coloring into. So if you are going shopping for the paste too, you can probably find these on the site as well. So you're ready to make your Christmas cards already. So I stamped some from the Sketch Snowman and Sketch Santas. And let me show you quickly. This technique is so much fun. It's probably one of my favorites already. So you can do this on colored images like this that are already colored in. You could do it on die cuts that you've already cut out. Really, the sky's the limit with this. But what I'm going to do is just take these images. I've watercolored them in with my Simon Hurley Create Die inks. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit of frostbite. And before I do this, actually, let me just show you. Actually, we'll do this first, and then I'll show you how I apply it. So
Okay.
I'm going to take quite a glob on my finger here. You don't want to
Okay.
use a sponge because the sponge kind of absorbs a lot of that paste and a lot of the glitter. So use your fingers, get a little messy, right?
It
And
comes
then
off
go
because the color is in the glitter, so it doesn't leave color behind on your finger.
right,
So
exactly. It's
don't worry
just
about your
clear glitter.
fingers.
So it's not scary. And I just go in and I really put that all over top. The more of a hot mess it looks like at the beginning, the better it's going to look in the end, right? Um, so just really coat this until it's nice and cloudy and you can barely see that image underneath it. That's how much glitter I like to apply. You can go thinner if
Wow.
you want to. It just depends on how thick of an effect you want. So it's going to
Okay.
look something like that. Now, and it looks great on the snowman too, so you can do that as well, but I'll save that snowman for a different technique. Um,
Okay.
but I want to talk about the amount of pressure that I'm using because when you apply lunar paste, which I'll show you here too, let me grab one of the lunar paste. So I've always told people with lunar paste, you want to take that paste, you want to get rid of any of the excess and have a really thin amount, and then you'll go on the surface and it looks like you've sort of gilded it into the cardstock and it dries almost
Right.
immediately. And you get that really beautiful like shine there with the lunar paste. With the Astro paste, it's totally different because you don't want a thin amount on your finger and you also don't want to really put a lot of pressure. So with this, I just take a little bit of that clear glitter paste and I'm just going to go on top of the surface and just really lightly go back and forth and like almost hovering over top of the surface, right? You don't want to, and it just depends how much you want to apply. If you want a thinner amount of glitter, apply more pressure and you'll get less. But when you're moving the glitter around, you're actually moving those individual glitter flecks with your finger inside that liquid, right? So
Yeah.
you can kind of see the coverage that you've got. So if you want less coverage, you can sort of tap it on with your finger. If you want more coverage, you can apply a thick layer. But I do have to note that applying lots of pressure is going to get you no glitter in the center and all the glitter on the outside where that pressure wasn't. So I would apply a lot less pressure and you're going to get a lot more of that glitter onto the surface
Yeah.
there.
Gotcha. So yeah, you don't want to push too hard. But when I was playing with this off screen, I found that if I wanted like a fine bit of, instead of spreading, because like you said, you push around, if you just do like a tap like this, real light tap, so it ends up looking something like that. That's how I got this thin layer here of glitter.
Oh, nice.
This
I
is
like
when
that.
it's dried. So just doing like a light tap will give you that instead of the spreading. Or put the thicker layer, sorry, I'm out of focus, the thicker layer like he just showed, like a little bit thicker. Yeah.
Yeah, yep. And I think that any way you do it, like tapping or that little swipe is a good option. Just less pressure with your finger, otherwise you'll get pretty much no glitter in there. So I would
Right.
recommend using a very light hand. Um,
Yeah.
and then, so this is what it's gonna look like beforehand, like an absolute hot mess, right? And then
Looks like
once
you
it's
covered
completely
Santa
dry,
with snow. You
exactly,
threw
yeah. Um,
snowballs at him.
but once it's dry, let me pull out my flashlight. It's hard to see on camera, but in real life, it's got like, can you see? Oh no, maybe the flashlight
Oh.
made it worse. In real life, it's got that sort of like snowy, like
Oh no, you can see it.
little bit of
Yeah.
glitter across the whole surface there, and it gives these snowmen especially like just this really cool glazed, frosty look to it. And all that color comes back. All the line work comes back, all the color comes back because that
Wow.
glitter is completely clear. So although it looks like you're really ruining your image, I did like probably an even thicker coat than I did on that Santa image, and it just comes back completely clear and dries, and it gives you a really great sort of snowy, icicle, frosted look on top of all the images.
So if you had done that with one of your colored Astro pastes, it would be that solid color glitter on top. But
Yep.
the one you can do this with over an image is that frostbite. So the frostbite's a little different than the others. That is
Yeah, good
amazing.
call. Good call. We should remind them it is frostbite, so don't be covering your images like that with any of the other colors because you will ruin your image.
It'll look
But
like you glitter bombed Santa if you use one
yeah,
of the colors.
exactly. But frostbite is the one you can do that with, and you'll be able to cover it, and then every detail will come back because this glitter is clear. But only this one is that
That's
clear.
amazing. So you could take that and spread a thin layer on, say, like a pattern paper, or a background you've done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like any sort of die cut you can do too, like floral die cuts, it looks really cool on. Any inked thing you could also tap it on like this too. Just know that if the ink is kind of blended on like that, it's going to sort of pick up a little bit of that ink, but that's totally okay too. Someone
Okay.
asked if the glitter wipes off when it's dry. The glitter stays completely in place when it's dry. It won't come off on
Yeah.
that recipient's
Not at
hand,
all. Yeah.
which is my favorite part about it.
Yeah. For sure. That makes a big difference. Kathy wanted to know, Simon, how old were you when you designed your first product, and what was it?
I was 15, and let's see, do I even have it here? Oh, I have one maybe over there. Let me check.
15, folks.
Oh
15.
yeah, it's over here. Okay. You guys are gonna see it here first. This was like the first
There it
stamp set
is.
that I designed with Ranger. It's called Dudes 2. This one's probably gonna get framed because it's like the last one that I have, but I hand drew all these images inside of here. And it's so fun because you can put the different heads on the bodies. But it was really just like bringing like some like male images into the industry, which was really kind of
Yes.
fun. So yeah, when I was 15, I designed this, and then it launched when I was 16. So super fun. We've come a long way since this stamp set, but it's always a fun reminder to kind of come back to.
I've been doing this longer than he's been born or been alive. That's great. That's great. Let's see. You can, Jillian said, can you mix frostbite with other inks to get other colors? I think you mentioned
yep.
that, right?
Yep, you can
Yep.
mix it with other inks. You can also mix it with reinkers, and you'll get a different color. Now, if you're using a dye-based ink, which you want to use, because I think that the pigment ink would sort of cover up the sparkle that this has, So you want to mix a dye ink in, but the dye ink won't show up on a black cardstock. So even if you
Okay.
mix this in with, it'll look like at first, because it's that milky consistency, it'll look like the color is going to show up, but it'll
Okay.
disappear because the inks are transparent.
Okay. Gotcha. All right.
All
Did you
right.
have another thing to show, or should? So there are some more questions too about solar paste and lunar paste. It's up
Yeah,
to you.
sure. Let's go into this first, and then we'll go back to
Okay.
the lunar and solar. So
Perfect.
because it's sort of on the same lines of what we were just talking about with the die cuts, I think this technique is super cool. So for this vase, I used the frostbite. I went in. So this is a collection that I have with Spellbinders. This
Yep.
set is called Vases. There's a bunch of different vase sizes, and then this one is like fresh cut florals or something like that.
I have
Um,
it linked below, so I'll be able to tell you here. It is floral stems. I think, is it floral stems? Is it
oh,
the floral
maybe it is
stems?
floral stems. Yeah.
Yeah, it's floral stems.
Okay.
Hey,
Perfect.
us old
So
people sometimes are useful.
so for this die cut, I went in with the frostbite and I just went straight on top. Now I love a good vase, and I like those vases. Like there's some like kind of designer vases that have like a sort of like texture to them, which I think is
Yeah,
super cool. So for this, I
yeah,
went in and I just took it really thick on my finger and sort of like pressed it on like that to give it like
yeah,
that stippled kind of effect. And it almost looks like a like textured ceramic vase, which I think is so
yeah.
cool. And so that's how I got the look on top of this base. So you just apply it quite thick like that. Again, it'll look milky, but then once it dries, you get
Look
that
at
sort of
that.
like glittery look, but also all that texture to it. It's really cool once it's completely dry. And you'll see I inked the bottom of this vase with purple, and you can see that the bottom here of that glitter sort of picked up on that purple. So if you want it to be less white of a haze, apply ink to it and it'll pick up on that purple ink below it.
Ah, nice,
Kind
nice.
of fun, right?
Okay, Denzel texted me back, and he said that cutting glitter paper or these glitter pastes when they're dry do not harm dyes.
Awesome.
So it's
That's great to
official.
hear.
It's official.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
official. Yeah, he knows a lot about die cutting, so we'll trust him on this one.
quick question. Somebody asked, when you stamp the snowmen and the Santa
Yep.
in black ink and then put the paste on top, what do you have to use a special black ink?
This is VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink, and then I clear heat embossed it. I don't know if the
Okay.
clear heat embossing makes a difference, but you'll want some sort of permanent black ink. But
Okay.
if you
Yeah.
want to just be sure it's going to work, clear heat emboss it too. I just
Okay.
clear heat emboss pretty much everything that I stamp, so it's kind of just in my
Okay.
nature to do.
Yeah. So just try what you have. Stamp something quick with black ink. Wipe that on, and you'll know right away if if it'll be a problem.
Yep, you'll want it to be waterproof because the pastes are water based, so waterproof
Okay.
ink will work. And
Okay.
then for these die cuts at the top here, I did that sort of tapping technique that you did. So you'll just take that die cut and then go in with whatever color Astro paste you want. And I didn't want to cover the ink beneath it. So this is where you'll go in with like a really fine amount of that glitter and
Right.
literally just tap it on. And it sort of just applies a really thin layer of that glitter, and you're able to see through it to the ink below as well.
Yep.
And it doesn't fully cover the die cut up. So if you
Because if you
look,
put a heavy layer of the Astro paste, it would cover up the color cardstock completely.
yep, the heavy
Right.
layer will
Okay.
cover it up. Whereas this, you'll just see some of that glitter, and you'll still see like the ink that I applied around the edges. You still can see through that. And then you
Okay.
can just like apply the layer on top. So don't be afraid to use this with layering dies too, because you can always glue the layer on top after you're
Ah,
done glittering it, and it looks really cool.
like with the butterfly earlier with the heck too.
Yep.
Yeah. So you could do like a layering floral, like something big, and put maybe just a little bit of glitter on one layer and heavier on another.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's super cool for those. I think that sometimes, so I do have to say, when I first came out with Lunar Paste, the funny part is it was never supposed to be a paste, and I didn't love getting messy at the time. So like for me, it was completely out of my league. Like Brian gave me the paste, and I was like, I don't really think that these are my sort of thing, but I wanted something you could rub on with your finger, like really thin like that. And that's always what I wanted Lunar Paste to be, is more of like a powdery substance you could rub on, but that never set in place. So the pastes, they set in place. So they trap anything you have in the paste underneath it. But I find that like even applying it to my finger, they wipe off pretty easily by the end of the day. But I love it for thinking outside of the box rather than just through stencils, because of course they work amazing through stencils. But
Right.
things like this, I think that sometimes people forget that like you can apply it in not such a messy way, not so thick, and you have like a
Right.
really cool glitter on the die cut. So definitely think outside of the box. If you think of an idea, try it, because there's a lot of different ways that paste can work, whether you apply them thick or thin or on different mediums, and you get really cool looks.
Great. Okay, so somebody also asked about this. These are the sketched. There's a few here. This is the sketched Christmas, which I don't know if he showed. That's one of his new ones. And there are dies that coordinate. This is the sketch Santas. Hold on, look how cute that Santa is. Isn't he adorable? And because of the sketching, you don't have to be a pro at coloring. You could just do simple color. And this is the sketch snowman. And I'm going to be, at the end of this live, I will be giving some of these away because, you know, sometimes I end up with two things. I'm not giving mine away. I've got another.
That's awesome.
Stay tuned till the end of this. All right.
And then I will show too, we have this new stamp that came out called Brick too. We had one in the past called Wood Grain, and it creates, Wood Grain. And it creates like a really realistic looking stamped wood grain. We released this last year, and I love how like realistic it looks, because it's a bunch of tiny little dots that are in the rubber that make up the shading inside of this. So this year we released this pattern called Brick because we thought it would be really cool with like the Santa images, to have him like a chimney or a house, or even create like a mantle with that Christmas stamp set. And so when you stamp this on top, it looks a lot more realistic than like a perfect looking brick. I love all the different like cracks and texture in it that you get. So that is how that stamp comes out too. And that's part of the collection as well. So it really matches along with most of these images nicely. So you can create a mantle or a front door or the Santas, which is awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, super fun.
All right.
All right, should we jump into the solar things now? Because they have a lot of questions about solar and lunar paste too.
Yeah, and we'll keep letting our paste, our Astro paste things dry.
Yep, that's perfect.
Do that. Okay. So which one are we using first, or are we using them at the same time?
We can use them all at the same time. What were the questions necessarily about?
I know somebody asked, which one's better on black cardstock? Marsha asked, somebody asked, which one?
I think I got rid of that because I thought it was answered already.
Yeah, somebody asked what's the difference between solar and lunar, and I think somebody asked, Myra asked, which is better on black, lunar or solar? You have the swatches you could show
let
again.
me just show quick. So when it comes to black cardstock, lunar paste is going to be the most opaque of the paste. Besides the Astro paste is just as opaque as the lunar paste would be because it's all that glitter. But the lunar paste is going to look the same on black or white cardstock. So no matter what you use, lunar paste is going to be your most bold, most opaque on any surface, which I really like.
Okay.
Same thing with the Astro paste. It's going to be bold and opaque on both of the surfaces, and it'll look the same on either one. When it comes to the solar paste, it's more of an effect paste. This one is going to look almost white until you tilt it on that white cardstock, and then you'll see those colors. And then on black cardstock, it looks good on black cardstock still, but it looks almost white until you tilt it and see those colors. So
it's like an interference kind of effect?
Yeah, it's like an interference mica, so you won't see those colors necessarily until you really tilt them, and then you get more of a look.
Gotcha.
So these ones work well on both, but they're not super vibrant if that's what you're looking for. And then the neons will look good on both black and white as well. So these are just as opaque too. So I would say go for any of the pastes except for solar paste if you're trying to make it look, super vibrant and bright on black cardstock.
Gotcha. Okay, there we go. All right, so what are we going to do here? What you want to do?
All right, so do we want to show them the mix of the solar and the Astro? Because I thought that was kind of cool too.
Yeah, that was don't tell anybody. I thought of that in church this morning and I came home and I tried it. I was listening, but I can't stop thinking about craft supplies.
Same, right? It's always running through your mind.
It's the way it goes. All All right, let's see. Which
All right.
one do I have here? I think I'm going to do that. All right. No. See, I have issues where I'm always afraid I'm going to run out of my favorite. So there's 3 of the golden hour.
That's amazing.
We hoard things too, don't we?
Oh yes. Oh yeah. I got a bunch of jars of Lunar and solar paste sitting on my floor in case I need an extra.
Yes, yes. I think I'm going to do. Oh, you know, I'm going to get color cardstock. What are you going to do?
I'll do let's see. I'll do white.
Okay.
And
I'm
then
gonna go
so are we
with
mixing
Christmas.
the solar and the Astro?
Well, I'm going to do, because I when I tested off screen, I mixed Lunar and Astro. I think these are the 2 I did.
Oh,
The slippery
you-
when wet in
yeah,
both.
that's a good idea.
So, because then I can show the almost dried version, but if you want to do solar in Astro, it's up to you. Whatever you want.
I'm gonna do Lunar and Astro too, but I'm gonna do something really different than what you're doing. I'm gonna do
Okay.
a different color glitter than the paste.
That's
So
smart.
I'll do the Lunar paste in this purple color, and I'll do gold glitter just to show you that you can mix.
Okay.
These colors would usually make brown, but because the Astro paste is only glitter and no mica, it's not gonna mix with the paste.
Now that's huge. That's huge.
Right.
Because then you can have a color paste with a different color glitter in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Let's
gonna
see if
be
it
awesome.
works. I'm hoping it works. I'm hoping it works.
Sometimes I get a little excited too soon. It may not work. You never know. I'm going to do a little masking kind of thing here. I'm going for Christmas, because when you craft for a living, Christmas is in July.
Christmas in July, right?
Yep. By the
was
way,
like-
if you don't like using a lot of tape, when you're doing this kind of stuff, something else you can do. I'm not doing it today just to save, but if you have a sticky mat like this Altenew sticky mat, you can buy just this. I call it blank stencil material. I'll have Mike add it in the on that live page and in the chat. But this blank stencil material, what you can do is use this to mask, and it suctions on,
Oh,
so you don't have
that's
to
really
use
nice.
tape, and then you just clean this like you would a stencil. I'll use it on the top and the bottom here.
Wow, that's great for not wasting as much tape then.
Yeah. Okay.
So this, you can see some of that golden
Oh.
glitter in there.
Hold
But
on. Do
same
that.
thing with-
Can you put that up to the camera again?
Yeah, it's a little milky
Oh, yeah,
still, so
yeah.
you won't be able to see the
I
glitter
see it.
as much, but you can still see some of that gold already.
Nice. And I like that you're using your cutting plate.
Oh yeah, that's how I mix in here.
That's awesome. That's proof it cleans up, right?
Right, exactly. There's no cuts in it though, otherwise I don't think it would clean up after that.
That's true. That's true. So do you actually die cut with that?
Not with that one, no.
No, okay.
This is just an
But it
extra
does
that
clean
kind of plate.
Okay, so I'm taking a little bit of Lunar paste in the slippery with when wet. I'm going to put it right there so you know this is Lunar. And then I'm going to take, let's put that on the desk. I'm working on a glasswork surface here. Taking some Astro paste. I took too much. I didn't need that much. But I won't let it go to waste. And I'm going to mix those two. So that's Lunar and Astro. So this will give us the gold creamy consistency, and this will give us the gold glitter. So he's doing 2 different colors. I shouldn't have done this right here in the middle of the screen. Ay vey. Gosh. I should probably have done more glitter, but that's okay. So that's Lunar and Astro. And I'm going to put this on here. What's the name of the stencil again?
What'd you say?
What is the name of the stencil here that I'm using?
I think that one's called Deco Diamonds.
Deco Diamonds. That Mike just said it at the same time. Okay, so now, sorry. This is, you can't see. Let me just, yeah, you're right. As you just kind of drop this down as you're going. Oh, this is going to be so cool. I hope.
I love this idea. Wow, you can really already see like all the gold glitter in here too.
You need this tool. You need this tool.
It's one of the best. I love it so much. I was like, When we first came out with it, I was a little bit weary about it, but I was like, it works so well, especially when you know how to use it too, where you kind of tilt it down as you go. It really
Yeah.
helps to smooth it out.
I can't believe you don't work on a glass work surface, Simon.
I need to get one, but I need to figure out my lights because they glare right here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I need to
You
figure that
gotta-
out. And once I do,
The
you'll be
key-
seeing me working on a glass mat.
The key to it is to not have lights directly above.
Should use Jen's discount code.
There you go. All right, here we go. So this is extra here. I'm just.
Oh, I love this. Wow.
Is it yours is working?
Yeah, and you can see all of that gold glitter throughout. And
Okay, hold on.
once it dries, I think you'll see it a lot more.
Oh yeah, because
But
the
it's-
cloudiness. Yeah.
Yeah, because the cloudiness will disappear, but it's really pretty. And I don't know if it's going to shine as much, but it'll be interesting to see once it dries because the lunar paste is still opaque, but because that Astro paste is opaque too, they're like fighting each other. And so you'll get like that little bit of glitter with that like mica in there too. It'll be really pretty once it's dry.
Okay, so this stencil material I can just clean when I clean my stencil. So that's another option. Uh-oh, I got some underneath it though. So we're gonna see how easy it is to clean this off your
Fail.
grip mat. Yeah, I fail all the time. Mike, you act like you're surprised. Mike knows the true hot mess that I am. Where's Lila, by the way?
Upstairs.
Uh-oh.
There you go.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna have a mess here. Let's see. Oh, but look at, I did get some underneath. I pushed too hard, but I'll just cut a border out. Hold on, let me show you. So I pushed too hard. I did what you said. I pushed too hard here. So it went underneath the stencil.
Oh, but it feels so pretty. Wow.
But one thing I could do, if I weren't live right now, I don't want to take the time, I would just take my craft knife and just scrape it off that in-between area. But what I'll do is I'll just let this dry and I'll cut a border like on this side, because on that side. So I don't think you can see yet, but it's the shiny gold color of the lunar paste with gold glitter in it. And I'll show you, I did do a comparison here. So I took some of the extra and I spread it out on here. This is what I did earlier with the same. I think these are the same colors. So can you see the...
Oh, that's so
shine-
pretty.
So if you have any kind of brushed matte gold cardstock, what this looks like in real life is brushed matte gold cardstock with glitter pressed into it. That's what it ends up looking like when you mix those two. Here, let me switch to yours.
Because it gives the Astro paste an opaque base with the glitter in it then. Whereas like instead of being clear, it's got that base and then it's got the glitter on top.
Oh, that's cool.
Really cool. I can't wait until this dries. I can't wait to see what it looks like.
So you can have two very contrasting colors of like you did the purple lunar paste and the kind of gold Astro paste, and it's gonna the colors will show up.
Yep, because both of them, like the mica in the lunar paste, would mix with other micas that are in other lunar paste. But because
Gotcha.
these are completely separate, like that glitter is completely different, kind of medium almost, than the mica that's in the lunar paste, it won't really mix together. It'll stay separate because those little glitter particles don't really break down.
Yes, and people were asking about the cleaning. What we've been doing is mist it with the stencil with water right away, and then it cleans off very easily. Or if you have, what I normally do, it's on the other side of the room, is I'll just go throw this stencil that would have paste on it into wet water, a bowl of water that I have on the side. Here, I'll go get it so I can show you. And then it won't dry on there. And later I can go like spray it off in my kitchen sink. Let me... I don't want to spill this because that was See, I have one of these little trays and I keep this
Oh, nice.
right by the sink and I just dunk in there. And then afterwards I can take it.
I gotta get one of those. That way I don't have to clean as much while I'm crafting.
For real. Anything, I will buy any tool or anything that will help me avoid having to clean.
Yes, I
And
agree.
that's one of them. And by the way, you all saw that I got a big clump of a bunch of the paste on my sticky mat. it came right off with just a wet cloth.
Oh, nice.
Cleaned up beautifully. Yep.
And I'm just
Now
doing
I
a little
didn't
background.
let it dry, so I don't know.
Someone asked if you could stamp on top of the paste. So I'm just doing a quick background to show that. And for this
So
background,
that
I'm
is,
using,
is that
this
lunar
is-
paste?
yep, this is neon lunar
Yeah.
paste, but you could use regular lunar paste, or you could use like solar paste. Now for this, I probably wouldn't use Astro paste just because there's all that glitter. You wouldn't be able to see the stamping
Right.
much anyways. But since these are a lot smoother, you'll be able to see the stamping really great on top of it.
Okay. Ah, yes. Tim calls those lasagna pans. Yeah, that's what it would be used for. But let's face it, I don't cook, so I don't have it for that purpose.
And then I'll spread out a little paste too, just some of the excess. So I want to show you, there's a couple different ways you can stamp on this paste. While it's still wet, you might want a little bit thicker than this, like a little bit thicker because this one's super thin. But while it's still wet, you can go in and let's see, where did I put that background? Now I'm losing things in here. It's getting piled up.
When you're on a live this long, that's what happens.
Exactly. It's like everything is lost underneath layers. Oh, here they are. Okay. So there's this script stamp from my line. This one's called Handwritten. I love how this one looks because it's some great texture all throughout. And also you'll want a fine line image for this kind of technique. So I'm just going to take it and stamp right into that paste. Give it some good pressure. And this is when that paste is still a little bit wet. And you can see it lifts off the paste.
No.
That's cool.
Super fun, right?
No.
And then
Sorry,
you can
you're like a tiny screen here for me to see, so I have to get my old eyes up. Look at that.
Right?
And then you can stamp that off, can't you?
Yeah, you can take the extra. I like to spray it down with just a little bit of water to make sure that it's still there. And then I just lift it off with a little bit of water. And you can see it on there. Now this wasn't a ton of paste because it was so thin. So you're not going to see it much. But if you had more paste on there, you can see it a lot more then.
It's like just a subtle iridescent look in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And that,
really cool.
that
And
was lunar paste.
Yep, and you'll want to clean your stamp off before it dries. And then if the lunar paste is dry, you have a surface that's going to resist anything. So you can't stamp this down with Simon Hurley inks because that will wipe right off because this is like a resist surface now. It's almost plasticky feeling. So you'll want to go in with like an archival ink or a StazOn, something like that, where it's going to be permanent on top of the surface.
Yeah.
And I'll just take this and kind of lightly go across. I don't need it to be perfect because it's just that script font. And I'm just going to take this and stamp it right down on top of the dry paste. And then it stamps perfectly on there. Now with archival ink, I'm not sure if you have to do this, but I like to just heat set it for a couple of seconds. And then it pretty much sets on top of that paste. You're good to go now, and you've got stamping on top of your lunar paste. And then you can even go in and create more layers with like a stencil and another layer of lunar paste, like maybe some dots on top to really get like a mixed media look. But lots of different ways to stamp into wet paste, stamp off with the wet paste, or use stamping with ink on top of the dry paste.
So it'd be really cool to do a thin layer of lunar paste on the black cardstock over a stencil, right? And then let it dry. And then come in with that stamp with the black ink and stamp on top of it. So you would have the stamping on top of the lunar paste in a pattern.
Yeah, I'm not following quite with you there.
So if you say you have black cardstock. Here, I can't do it because it'll take time to dry. But say you have black cardstock, and you have, where's that Greenery stencil? And you have this on top. Put it lunar paste over it.
Oh,
right?
I'm seeing where you're going now. Yeah.
So go with like a lunar paste, like in the colors you did. Then remove the stencil, let it dry, and then stamp that script with black on top of it. So you would have this pattern.
You just came up with a whole new video idea. That's so good. I love that.
Now, where's the time to do?
Right, exactly. And then
I wanted
also,
to show you, let me show you real quick. I wanted to show this because this shows the drying difference. If you see this is the Astro paste, the glitter ones we were using earlier. So If you see this is drying on the edges, but it's still very wet in the middle, you can see how it's still creamy looking in the middle, but not creamy towards the edge. So remember, as it dries, it will become not creamy looking. See how it changes as it dries? Because it's really thick there in the middle. All right.
I love that.
Okay,
And
what
then
were you going to
also-
show? Sorry.
So with that one that we stamped in while it's still wet, it removes that paste in those areas. I'm not sure if this one is thick enough to show this, but we're gonna try it anyways, because now you can go in, and I did this at a trade show, but the paste was a little bit thicker. So if you use your scraper tool and keep it a little thicker, this might work better. But I'll take another paste. This one's slippery when wet.
No.
See, that one's a tongue twister. I mess it up every time. You take a little bit on your finger, and you just put it into those areas. It'll sink down in and hit that black cardstock and stay there. So I'll just go all over. And then of course you'll cut this background down because the edges look a little messy, but you'll have like a nice focal point there. Then you go in with like a piece of paper towel here, and you can just spray on top of the surface. Because the paste underneath is waterproof or water resistant, it'll just start lifting off and breaking down the lunar paste that's on top. And I recommend using a paper towel and not necessarily a microfiber, because the fibers will get all into there. You just want something that's going to swipe onto the surface there. And you just remove any of the excess lunar paste that's just sitting on the surface, and it'll just reveal that color underneath, but it'll keep the lunar paste down into the areas that it removed the paste from. And so it makes those gold then, and then it keeps the colors on top. Mind blown, right? It's like one of my favorite techniques to do with lunar paste.
That's amazing. That's so cool. Okay, I got to do that. Okay, somebody said they can't believe you put your finger in that lunar paste. Show them your finger. It doesn't stain your finger.
Oh yeah, it doesn't stain your fingers too much, and even like so the water breaks down the paste. So later on, when I go to wash my hands too, like they'll be even cleaner. I've been just washing them with paper towel, but like it barely stays on your finger at all, and we've been dipping them in the whole day, which is great.
Yeah. The only stains I have on my finger are from the ink blending I did. Look at that. That's cool.
So fun,
that's
right?
really cool.
A 3-for-1, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's really cool. Okay. My mind is blown. I love it.
Right?
I love it.
And then I'll show one last thing with the solar paste. So now where did I leave it is the question. Oh, here, over here. Oh, two last things. Do we have time for two? They're quick.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So this is that solar paste. Now solar paste is that like white clearish base, and it has those interference. So you can see here that when you dye it with a reinker, you can choose whatever reinker you want. It will change, like this one is like a purpley color in there, and so it'll change to that and shift once you tilt it in the light. Now it's hard to see on camera, but in real life you get more of that like purple haze over top, only when you tilt it, which is awesome. So all you have to do for this is just take your mixing palette here. Here's my die cutting plate.
We're fancy around these parts, right?
And then I'll go in with overheated, which is that orange solar paste. And I'll just take a little bit out here. And then again, the reinkers, you'll want to use a dye-based reinker. So like my Simon Hurley reinkers, like Concord 9th, I think is dye-based too. Like a lot of them are dye-based, so you can see right through them. And I'll just place a couple drops in here. Here I'm doing Crown Me, which is purple. And purple and orange would usually make mud, but because this is a liquid and because that mica is more of a solid, it's not going to create mud. Those two aren't going to mix. And
so wait,
now,
what color solar paste was it?
This was orange. It's called overheated.
Okay, so an orange paste, but you used a purple reinker, and it's going to work.
Yep. Usually it would make mud, but now you have a purple paste that has an orange shift to it. So you always have to think of like with solar paste, whatever's on the packaging is going to be the color you get when you tilt it in the light, but whatever you mix into it is going to be that color of the actual paste when you look straight on.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
And now I can go in with any stencil here. I'll just use that same Deco diamond stencil we've been using. Put it down. I'll just swipe it right through. Now I do have to say with this, you're coloring the paste, but you're not coloring it for a black cardstock. So on black, you won't be able to see it because the dye ink is translucent.
Okay, it would end up being just more orange.
Yep.
Ish, yeah, okay.
So then it becomes that purple, and then when you tilt it in the light, it'll become that orange. You can't see it as much on like before it's dry, but once this is dry, that orange really stands out once you tilt it. and you'll be able to see that like sort of shifting quality that's in the solar pastes.
So
that's why I
that
said,
those are the same colors there?
no, this one is clear skies with overheated paste, so that's the orange, and then this
Okay.
one is crown me with that overheated paste in it.
Okay. So the
But
color
same
of
color
ink you
solar
added
paste,
is
different color ink.
Wow.
Super fun, right? So that's why I said solar paste is more of an effect paste, because you can mix a lot into it and get different results from that mixing in.
Who's gonna feed my kids tonight? Because my husband's out of town, so I have things to play with. Actually, Lila will love playing with this stuff too. Okay, that's amazing.
All right, we got one more little thing on the horizon here, but someone
Okay.
asked earlier, so I just wanted to share it with them quick. So I'll just clean this off my very fancy mixing palette here. All right, so someone asked earlier if you can use them with a paintbrush. So I just wanted to answer that with this little snowman
Yes.
image. So in my video that you saw, that you can see on my channel too, I go through this quite often because it's one of my favorite ways to use the paste. But like this image is completely colored in. So these Astro pastes will cover it up if you apply too much. And you also don't want to go in with your finger because like it's harder to get into the details. So this is where a brush comes in handy. I like these little brushes from Ranger, the little artist brushes, just because
Yeah,
they're cheap.
they're good.
That way, if you
Yeah.
end up ruining it, you aren't spending big bucks on a nice quality brush. I just get a little tiny bit into my brush here, and then you sort of just do the same kind of motion you were doing with your finger earlier to tap that color on, and you can just tap it all over whatever image you want. And you're pretty much just spreading out a little layer of glitter, so it's not going to paint on like a watercolor would. You can just kind of move that glitter around with your brush and apply as much or as little as you want to the image. So here I'll apply
it's
a little bit
kinda
onto
like-
my gift, a nice thin layer.
So you kind of like a thin layer you were putting on with your finger before, but you're using a brush this time to get into the small areas.
Yep. Very
Okay.
totally similar to what that entails. And yeah, you can apply as much or as little as you want. The glitter is opaque, but the base is still clear. So you can kind of lift things and move them before it dries if you kind of want to move that glitter around with your brush a little bit.
Gotcha.
You can go into any
Okay.
colors. So like here, I'll use clear skies. Actually, you know what? I used clear skies for this bottom layer. So if you want, you can also go in with like opposite colors. So like, or not opposite, but like this one's crown me.
Another.
So we can add like a little purple glitter to his blue hat, which I think would be kind of fun.
Right.
And just dab it on with your brush. And so it just gives it a little bit of sparkle and shine, but you can still see that blue underneath, which I think is so fun.
Oh, that's gonna dry beautiful.
Yeah, and once it dries, you get all that sparkle. It's not going to take as long to dry as like a thick layer, like over top of the Santa
Right.
would. This will dry in like a minute or two, which is really nice because it's so thin.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And somebody said it's not the fingers they care about, but the manicure. But you'll be happy to know my manicure is safe and sound.
Safe and sound, and I think glitter
It
would
comes
look good
off.
on some painted nails, right?
Yeah, well, but it came off when with just the water or like a baby wipe. So
Yeah,
We're all
that is
good.
great to know. Because I know a lot of people are scared of their nails, like in classes too. They wouldn't want to dip them in, but it does.
Yeah.
I do have to say that the paste comes off really easy with water, and with your brush, you'll want to take this to a sink or clean it off with water because you don't want that paste formula to stick in there. So just clean it out so that it doesn't get crusty with the paste inside of it.
or you can do what I do and throw it in that little tub of water.
Yep.
Easy peasy. So should we show some of the things that are drying?
Yes.
All right, let's see what we
No,
got.
mine aren't drying as good as yours. I'm gotta say, I think Wisconsin is a little colder than Ohio, but they're well on their way to becoming pretty dry. I mean, this one is almost dry to the touch, but it still seems a little bit damp.
You can, and somebody asked earlier, how do you know when it's completely dry? When it's still wet, it feels a little cool to the touch in the background. So this feels a little, so this is still a little wet. Somebody asked, or Mike, where's the question? Somebody asked about die cutting again. I thought there was. Oh,
Yeah.
How does the paper with the Astro paste die cut? Does the dried paste crack?
So the dried paste doesn't crack, so you'll see like this is a piece of paper I applied it to, and you can see The formula that Ranger has is really, really good. So the paste isn't actually rigid once it's dry. It's something that we like are really big on because we want you to be able to bend things or die cut them and not have any of that paste fall off. So like I'm being quite rough with this one. Clearly, you're not going to do that to your card, but you can pretty much fold the cardstock and that Astro
Great.
paste isn't going to crack off, which is really, really nice.
Awesome.
It doesn't die cut super well if it's quite thick. If you have a thinner
Okay.
layer, it'll die cut easier. But like a big shape like this would die cut quite easy. But if you have a more detailed image that you want this glitter paste onto, you can always tap it on like we showed you earlier after it's already die cut.
There you go.
But
And we're not die cutting any of ours right now because you want it to be completely dry before you die cut,
Yeah.
or you will have
Probably overnight.
It will not
Yeah.
go well. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Because sometimes it'll be dry to the touch on the surface here, but it'll still be
Yeah.
wet underneath. So that's the thing you have to
Right.
be careful.
Can you show your rainbow one of this too? Because I'm just loving this. The Deco diamonds. So this is Deco diamonds with Astro paste.
And this is the rainbow one. So I used all the different colors
Look at
in here, and it is so pretty. You could really see like every little sparkle of that paste in here. It's so gorgeous. I love it.
That is beautiful. So pretty. Somebody asked, can you emboss it? I guess heat emboss it?
I guess, but you probably wouldn't. I don't know why you'd want to. You could probably
I don't
sprinkle
think
on
so.
a little bit of heat embossing powder before it's dry, and then, before it's dry, and then once it is dry, you can like heat set that, and it would emboss. On top.
Okay.
So if you want like kind of that distressed look throughout with embossing powder all over it, you can definitely do that. Yeah, because it's so wet.
Gotcha.
I wonder if it needs
And remember
embossing
another thing you can do with these, which I don't think we'll have time to cover today, but you can rub, especially the lunar paste and solar paste, you can rub over the surface of something that you use an embossing folder on.
Oh
You know, that's a whole nother way to use the lunar and solar paste, right?
Yeah.
Maybe she
And
was
they look
talking
almost
about
like
that.
gilded when you put it over top. It's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, so if you want to use lunar or solar paste with an embossing folder, just do your embossing folder on cardstock like you normally would, and then you just rub a light amount with your finger of the solar or lunar paste on the raised areas, and it's amazing. Simon has a lot of videos showing that, so that's definitely something you can do. And I've done a video where you can flip over to the back side, the deboss side of an embossing folder background, and you can spread the Astro paste in it and it would fill in those. So if you have like a 2D embossing folder, it gives a really cool effect too.
That
So
is super cool.
we might have to go live sometime and show
Yeah, we might have to do a part 2, right?
a part 2 with embossing folders.
And then
All
also
right.
another bonus
Oh,
too
this is
on these backgrounds. I'm not gonna have time to like actually do one, but it's very similar to all the techniques we've already showed. So for these, I did a first layer of a very light layer with just my finger, but you could also use the scraper tool of a lunar paste. So this one was slippery and wet, and then this one was clear skies. So lunar pasted background to almost get that mirrored effect. And then I put the coordinating color of Astro paste on top with a stencil.
Okay.
So you get like the mirrored color in the background, but you get the glitter design of the exact same color paste. So it's really a cool technique to get like a tone on tone, but 2 different types of sparkle on top. It's really cool.
That gold would be beautiful, pretty quick background. I mean, quick to make, you just got to let it dry. Would be great for holiday card. You could put little red gems on it and it looks like berries in the background.
That would be
Super
beautiful.
pretty. Nice.
I love them.
All right. Let's see here. This is the one where I did like the helix. So this was the one where we did the flip-flop stencil. We both did it. We did it in very different ways. This is the flip-flop chevron. He did a chevron pattern and I did like this helix. And the first time over the stencil we did inks, and the second time over the stencil he did Astro paste and I did Astro paste and lunar paste in different colors. So
I love that. That looks amazing.
yeah, it was lunar paste. Yours looks
Super.
great too. I love the shading you did on the ink.
Thanks. It almost looks like woven, like a 3D woven design then.
Yeah,
So cool.
that's fun. And this is still drying too, but you can, I don't know if you can see, I did like tropical teal in some areas, so it's a little more green up here. And then I did like clear skies down here, so it's a little more blue. So I did like a mix over it.
I love that color combination too. It looks great.
Yeah, that's fun. And those come together so quick. So quick.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
just
now
the
this-
dry time that I feel like takes a little bit longer,
Yeah.
but like everything
Yep.
else is quite easy to do. Especially with that scraper tool, it makes it really simple.
So is that yours that you did today?
Yep, this is the one I did today, but I love that one with
Wow.
the ink blending in the background too, with the second layer of the stencil.
Yours is drying faster in this case, I think. So this will end up, it looks a little creamy, but it'll end up more clear. Oh,
So
that's
cute.
fun though.
I love it.
That's amazing. And then you could always do, another thing you could do is like start with a piece of colored cardstock and put frostbite over a stencil, because remember frostbite will dry, that's the white one, but it dries clear. Once it's dry, you could put a color ink over it and it'll resist that ink. You just want to use a blending
yeah.
brush to do that. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, we
That
do
would-
need to do a part 2.
Yeah. Even more
Yeah.
techniques with pastes, right?
Yes. Yes.
I always try to
so-
do like comprehensive videos of all the techniques, but it's like that would take 2 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah, for sure. So this is still not completely dry, but what this was where we mixed the
Ooh, it's
what's
coming to
the
life a little
gold?
bit more.
Oh, look at yours. That's nice. So that's the purple Lunar paste with the gold Astro paste. So what are those? A Crown Me Lunar
This is
paste
Crown
with
Lunar
the,
paste with slippery when wet Astro paste.
So you have
And
go ahead.
It's still drying a little bit, so you don't get as much shine as you would get once it's dry, but I'll take photos even later once it's completely dry. But so cool. You get like that golden glitter with the purple mica inked like look in the background.
So pretty.
Super cool.
My goodness. All right.
I love it.
Okay, so what else I think there might be a few questions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, time's
right.
not an issue. The only problem is I gotta go see what my daughter's doing. So that's the only reason. Will a Cricut cut that stencil material? I don't know. I'm not a Cricut user. Simon, would you know?
I'm not like a huge Cricut user either. I have one, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it would cut the stencil material.
Okay, Beth, sorry, I don't know. Beth said, you can die cut it though. Beth said, Simon, what advice would you give to a young aspiring artist? Good question.
Wow, that is a good question. I would say, there's so much I could say. Like, just keep going for your dreams no matter what other people around you think. I think that's a huge one for me. Like, I think in high school or even in life sometimes, I feel like sometimes it can be looked at as like not cool if you're really into something or if you're really like trying hard for something that you might not have achieved yet, but you're on your way to doing. I think sometimes that's like looked down upon. And I think just like do things because you absolutely love them and keep pursuing your passions no matter what people think of them. I think that's great advice.
And as an old lady, if you're a parent and your child is showing interest, support them. I mean, I would
Totally.
say, I mean, obviously, as you see, Simon's very talented, but his parents, the support of his parents, really made a big difference in where he is now too. So
Totally.
we gotta support this with kids. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's huge.
Teresa asked, could you use these on fabric?
Oh, I've heard that people have used them on fabric, and because it's still malleable, I would say that you definitely can. The only thing I would say is probably don't put it through a washing machine. I'm not sure how it would hold up, but I would probably say hand wash for those. But I think that they
Yeah.
do work on fabric. I think I've seen people use them.
Great, great. Somebody asked about the difference between Lunar and solar paste, go back to the beginning of the video where he shows that. Just, you can catch this replay and you'll definitely see that. I think most of these we answered along the way. Mike saves all the questions because I'll miss them if not. I think that's, yeah. Yeah, so customized color, yeah, you saw Simon took one of the solar paste and add re-inker to it to add custom color. You can also just mix two colors like of Lunar paste, mix them together and create a new shade if you want to look for something that better matches what you're creating. Man, that's thunder, yikes. So yeah, all of these you can mix together and you can mix the different kinds together too. A lot of cool effects that you can get.
And the Crown Me Astro Paste is really cool because it has that blue and purple already in there, but you could totally mix together like other Astro Pastes. The Astro Pastes are different because they're just that glitter, so they won't actually like mix. You'll still be able to see like both glitters in there, which is really cool. You'll get like a two-toned effect, which I think is awesome. So when you mix those, it'll be a little bit different, but super cool.
Because in the Astro Paste, it's the glitter only that's colored. So when you mix it, you'll have a mix of different colored glitters, not like the base of it. Does that make sense? Hoping that makes sense. All right. I do want to mention, sorry if you heard the thunder. I do want to mention, I think we've got, okay.
Yeah, I just don't know where they're at right now.
We do have the dies for these two, the giveaway that we're doing.
The dies are here.
Oh, the dies are here. Hang on. So we have these three. I have stuff drying everywhere here. These three, the new sketched stamp set and coordinating dies from Simon. Simon, who makes your stamps? Is it Spellbinders or Ranger?
The stamps are with Ranger, and then the coordinating dies are with Spellbinders. So it's
love that.
Awesome collab that they work together.
I love that. I love that. So this is the Santas, the Snowman, and the Christmas, and the dies for them. And that giveaway, Mike has picked a winner from people leaving comments in the chat. And who's the winner of these?
Heidi Andrus.
Heidi Andrus.
Andres.
Andres. Heidi Andrus. If you email me through my website or info@jennifermcguireinc.com and give me your address, I will get these sent out to you along with a card. So it's fun when I actually end up with doubles of things because I get to give them away.
That's awesome.
And you know what? I do notice that I hoarded some of your paste. Like I bought more. I was afraid, and they're still sealed. I'll probably throw a couple of those in with that giveaway too. So
Awesome. Oh, and then
joy of
also we
overbuying.
probably should mention again, I saw some people saying that they're going to have full set syndrome and they're going over to shop.
Yes.
So do remember, we have a coupon code, and I think links down below, right?
Yep. It's in the description of the video below, or right at the top of the description, there is a link that says Visual Supply List, and that link has the word live in it. If you go to that, it'll have the information and then links to everything that Simon showed us today. But it's over at Ranger Ink, who does all of these pastes and the inks and such that Simon used today. But they also carry the stamps, the embossing folders, the dies, and all that. So they carry all of your lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Over at Ranger.
They carry everything
Awesome.
all together.
Wonderful. Mike just put the discount code in the chat. So yeah, don't forget to do that. And I think they have like free shipping over $60 or something over at Ranger too.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that also.
Yeah.
All right.
Good way to shop, right?
Yeah, it's raining, so it's hot and raining. Who wants to go outside, right? Anything else you can think of before we go? We'll have to do a part 2 if
Yeah, that would
you're
be
up
so
to it.
fun. I would love
do that
to.
sometime. Anything else you can think of that you want to share?
That's should be good. Yeah, we just released this
Okay.
whole new release, Astro Pastes and Stamps. So yeah, super exciting.
Good.
Thanks for having
Awesome.
me. It's been so much fun today.
Yes. Yeah, we could probably go on for a long time. That's
Yeah,
dangerous,
definitely.
right? All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And Simon, thank you for taking the time to do this. I
Of
know
course.
at the ripe young age of 22, there's much more fun things you can be doing than talking to an old lady online, but I appreciate it.
Oh no, it was tons of fun. I had a blast.
Good. All right, everyone, thank you for taking the time to watch today. Again, everything is in the description below. And be sure to check out Simon's YouTube channel because he has many videos. I have it all linked below. Many videos using these products that are really inspiring. And also on Instagram, he does a lot of reels that are great. And TikTok, but if you're old like me, you're not on TikTok. So Instagram, it is. But you can see a lot of quick videos of different ways to use these too. So thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Simon. And have a good day.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.